A scientific breakthrough turns humans into eternal soldiers, living resources with no free will. But one day, a glitch occurs, and one of the copies starts to fight back against the system. 2054. Timo and Mickey Barnes were a couple of nobodies trying to make it big selling pastries. They borrowed money from a ruthless crime boss to launch their bakery, and failed miserably. When they couldn't pay the money back, things got ugly. The man they owed, Darius Blank, was a sadist who made a show of executing debtors with a buzz saw. Realizing they didn't want to meet the same fate, Mickey and Timo decided to join a colonization mission to the icy planet Niflheim as a way to escape Earth. Timo was lucky enough to be chosen as a pilot, while Mickey only managed to get on the ship by taking the one position no one else wanted, an expendable. At orientation, Mickey met Gemma, a mission recruiter. She was trying to explain the risks, but he was too distracted by her scent. It reminded him of his mom. The memory of the car crash that made him an orphan and landed him in foster care hit hard. Still, he agreed to let the lab back up his memories onto a hard drive. His role, go on deadly missions with high chances of death. But hey, if he dies, no big deal. They just reprint him using a 3D bioprinter and some recycled biological waste. The ship launched on its 4-year journey, led by Kenneth Marshall, a smug, washed-up politician with a savior complex. Eccentric or not, he had a crew that believed in the mission. Resources were tight, and food was strictly rationed. But Mickey got a little extra, thanks to Nasha Barrage, a security officer who fell for him the moment they met. They became secret lovers, stealing whatever time they could together. The catch? Mickey kept dying. Radiation testing, toxic gas exposure, weapons experiments, you name it. Every mission was a death sentence. His clones were always the first to step onto Niflheim, and the first to drop dead from the toxic air. Eventually, scientists developed a vaccine that allowed humans to breathe on the planet. By then, 17 versions of Mickey had died. With the atmosphere now survivable, the crew sent a 4-person team down to explore. But then came the monsters, massive, nightmarish creatures that looked like giant pill bugs. One woman panicked and fired wildly. She was killed in the chaos. Marshall was furious. They had Mickey for situations just like this. Instead, they'd lost a beautiful woman who could have helped with future colonization. Mickey was expendable, but she wasn't. As punishment, Mickey 17 is ordered to eat half as much and work twice as hard. While studying the endless ice fields of Niflheim, he falls into a cave and needs help. When Timo arrives at the scene, he doesn't save his friend. Instead, he steals a flamethrower, condemning the clone to death. It's here that terrifying creepers and their massive queen appear, attacking Mickey 17. Realizing he's about to die, Mickey passes out. Some time later, Mickey 17 regains consciousness and finds himself being dragged by the queen creeper by the leg, not devoured like he expected. He assumes she's taking him to her lair to feed him to her young. Ready to accept his fate, he waits to die, hoping he'll wake up in the next version of himself, but nothing happens. Instead of feeding him to her brood, the queen and her offspring push Mickey 17 back onto the snowy surface. He doesn't realize that the monsters have saved his life, thinking they didn't eat him because they find him unappetizing, since he's a clone made from biological waste. Trying to survive in the frigid wilderness, Mickey 17 spots a transport vehicle heading back to the base. The driver doesn't see or hear him, but Mickey manages to catch up to the vehicle. Once back on the spaceship, he heads to his cabin to rest, but when he gets into bed, he meets Mickey 18, the next clone created by the corporation. Mickey 17 realizes that something's gone wrong. He hasn't died, but no one will bother investigating. They're clones, disposable, and only one of them can be allowed to live. Despite their identical appearance, Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 are completely different people. Mickey 18 is cruel and aggressive, attacking Mickey 17 and throwing a dumbbell at the back of his head. The cause of their hostility lies in events from nearly 5 years ago on Earth. The corporation had tried creating clones and duplicates, but it led to disastrous consequences. A serial killer gained access to cloning technology and made multiple copies of himself, allowing him to be in several places at once. While some of his versions provided him with alibis, the others carried on his killings without anyone suspecting a thing. When the authorities discovered the truth, they banned duplicates and cloning altogether. However, Marshall, the mission leader, fought to ease the ban under strict conditions. He could use clones as expendable assets, but the one soul, one body rule had to be enforced. If a mistake was made, both clones would be executed without question. Waking up surrounded by trash, Mickey 17 realizes that Mickey 18 tried to dispose of him by dumping his body into a pool of molten lava. Defending himself, Mickey grabs a dumbbell, but he's too soft-hearted to kill. Unable to bring himself to attack his clone, Mickey 17 offers the possibility of peaceful coexistence. Mickey 18 flatly rejects the idea and attacks him, but their confrontation is interrupted by the sudden appearance of other crew members. Hiding, the two versions of Mickey watch as Timo engages in a secret transaction, trading illegal substances. Mickey 18, who retains the memories of previous versions of himself, knows that Timo, who grew up with them in the orphanage, has always been a terrible person, betraying him time and time again. Believing Timo is responsible for much of the suffering in his life, Mickey 18 attacks the pilot, beating him and trying to push him into the lava pit. Mickey 17 tries to stop the fight and save Timo, but he's overpowered. Timo seems doomed, but just in time, other crew members show up, forcing Mickey 18 to pull him back, demanding silence. When Mickey 18 meets Nasha, he pretends to be the one and only version of himself. Aware of their romantic relationship, he embraces her before the two head to her cabin. Mickey 17 is furious at the betrayal, as he is in love with Nasha and believes she has no right to be with anyone else, even if that someone is his clone. He follows them but is stopped by Marshall's assistance. It turns out that Mickey 17 has been invited to a formal dinner in the colony leader's private quarters, an unexpected honor for outstanding employees. It's a rare treat, considering the food aboard is strictly rationed by calories and scarce. Mickey 17 wants to stop Nasha's affair with the clone, but hunger forces him to give in to temptation and accept Marshall and his wife Ilfa's invitation. Soon, Kai Katz arrives at the dinner, a girl who recently lost her best friend after a dangerous cave expedition. She's deeply saddened and still unable to come to terms with the loss. Marshall and Ilfa offer a toast to honor the fallen crew member and subtly suggest to Kai that she's a valuable asset for reproduction. After a brief prayer, the conversation is interrupted when Mickey 17 suddenly feels ill. Doctors from the science center rush in and realize that he's eaten experimental synthetic food. His condition worsens, and he writhes in pain. The head of the science team proposes another experiment, injecting him with a new painkiller, but it only makes things worse. Deciding that the simplest solution is to end Mickey 17's suffering and create a new clone, Marshall pulls out a revolver, ready to execute him. Mickey 17 pleads for his life. Barely able to leave Marshall's quarters, Mickey 17 struggles to make it back to his cabin, too weak to walk on his own. Kai helps him, bringing him to her room, where she prepares a stomach remedy in an attempt to ease his pain. As they talk, she asks him what it feels like to die. Mickey 17 admits that he still hasn't gotten used to it and that each time, he feels overwhelming fear. This fear is uncontrollable. His deceased friend likely felt the same way before she died. Secretly harboring feelings for Mickey, Kai decides to kiss him, but he remains loyal to Nasha and runs away, retreating to his cabin. Back in his quarters, Mickey 17 learns that Mickey 18 has already told Nasha everything, and she's open to the idea of being with both clones. Under the influence of illegal substances, Nasha draws their serial numbers on the clones' chests, suggesting a new, completely safe experiment. She's always dreamed of spending the night with both of them and doesn't consider being with a clone a betrayal. Mickey 18 is ready for the fun, but Mickey 17 struggles to accept the idea due to his deep love for Nasha. Just as things reach an awkward and tense moment, Kai unexpectedly enters the room, noticing the duplicates, and quickly rushes out. Afraid of being exposed, Nasha corners the security agent and begs him to keep quiet. Kai agrees, on one condition: the clones must split the work and food equally, and both versions get to be resurrected, maintaining their separate identities. Under this deal, one clone will always have an odd number, 17, 19, 21, and so on, while the other gets an even one. It sounds like the perfect plan, but Kai has one more request. She wants Mickey 17. She's been in love with him for a long time and offers to share the guys. Nasha's not having it. She insists that both versions of Mickey belong to her. She loves them both, no matter how strange that sounds. While the two women argue, trying to untangle their messy situation, Mickey 18 learns about the experimental lunch, and snaps. Grabbing Nasha's gun, he heads straight to the set of a cheerful variety show, determined to execute Marshall live on air for treating human clones like disposable tools. Meanwhile, during a colony-wide ceremony, Marshall unveils a giant stone tablet that will bear the names of every expedition member. He promises glory and prosperity, unaware that Mickey 18 is already inside the hall, locked and loaded. Just as Marshall begins his speech, someone spots a hole in the stone. A tiny creature, a creeper, crawls out. Panic explodes. People scramble for the exits, only to find them sealed. Marshall initiates a lockdown and decontamination, ordering Mickey 17 to capture the creature. With help from a group of scientists, Mickey 17 manages to trap the little monster. At the same time, Mickey 18 takes aim at Marshall, but misses. Suddenly, another creeper leaps at Marshall. Security agents panic and open fire, accidentally killing their own leader. The secret of the clones is out, and both Mickeys, along with Nasha, are thrown into the colony prison. Locked up in separate cells, they try to make sense of everything. Nasha proposes a lie, say Mickey 18 saw the second creature first and wasn't aiming at Marshall. It might save them from execution. Mickey 17 blames himself. He tells the others what really happened in the icy cave, and how the creepers didn't try to harm him. They tried to save him. The group realizes that these alien creatures might not be dangerous at all. They might even be intelligent. Peaceful. Someone needs to tell the station leadership, before it's too late. Meanwhile, Timo and his sidekick break into the prison. Turns out, fleeing to another planet didn't erase their debt. Darius sent a collector after them. Now they're out of time, and out of options. Either they pay up fast, or they kill one of the clones to earn Darius's forgiveness. Timo chooses the latter. To him, Mickey is expendable. They'll just print another. He smuggles in a saw, ready to chop one of them into 13 pieces, and record it all for Darius. But Mickey 17 steps forward. He takes the blame. He should have died days ago. And now, he's ready to face it. At the last second, Mickey 18 suggests sparing the weaker clone and taking him instead. But first, he asks for one final wish. It turns out to be a trap. He uses the moment to strike, landing a punch on Timo's assistant. Acting in perfect sync, Mickey 18 and Nasha seize the keys to the holding cells and make a run for it. They threaten Timo with a chainsaw, but before they can get far, Marshall's guards intercept them. Witnessing their courage and willingness to risk everything, Mickey 17 finally understands, Nasha is the only person who has ever truly loved and valued him. She's been by the side of every version of him, always protecting him. Even when death was certain, she stayed with him until the very end. He's overwhelmed with gratitude. Now, both Mickey's and Nasha are being escorted to Marshall, who will decide their fate, life or death. Along the way, they pass a group of scientists who've captured a small creature for study. As they glance out the window, they realize something terrifying. Thousands of the same creatures have surrounded the space station. Maybe they've come to rescue the little one. Or maybe they're preparing to wipe out the humans. Seeing them as hostile invaders, Dorothy attempts to mimic the creature's strange vocalizations, and is surprised when Mickey 17 responds in a similar way. He's heard this kind of language before. He knows these beings aren't the monsters everyone believes they are. Back in the lab, Ilfa reveals a horrifying level of cruelty. She cuts off the creature's tail, just to make sauce. Outside, the gathered creatures erupt in rage, as if they can sense their kin's suffering. Marshall, now dressed in full military garb and calling himself the ship's general, brands Mickey 18's cheek with a red-hot iron to distinguish between the clones, just before planning to kill them both. To make his threat clear, he destroys Mickey's last memory backup, warning them this death will be final. Nasha steps in to defend them, pleading their case, but no one listens. Then, a group of prisoners speaks up. The creatures, they say, are intelligent. They're capable of communication. They're not a threat, unless treated like one. Dorothy adds that her team has developed a prototype translation device, like a live interpreter, and she's ready to help. Marshall laughs at the idea of negotiating with monsters. Despite the irony, it's the humans who are the real invaders here. Nasha sees it clearly now. Marshall isn't a leader. He's a coward hiding behind arrogance. When she tries to speak out again, he grabs the little creature, hooks it by the back, and dangles it over a pit of molten lava. The only way to save it is to grab the hook and hold it with her teeth, which Nasha does without hesitation. Meanwhile, Marshall's own crew, Earth scientists, record everything with hidden cameras. They're gathering evidence of his abuse of power, ready to expose him. The colony's leader is prepared to wipe out the creatures using poison gas, but his wife proposes a twisted alternative: spare one of the clones and give them a task. Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 must collect 100 tails from the creatures, so Ilfa can keep cooking her precious sauces. The first to finish will be pardoned. The loser will be executed. They can't refuse. Both are fitted with remote-controlled suicide belts. Marshall can detonate them at any time. As they head out on their deadly mission, Dorothy secretly hands them the translator device, giving them a chance to speak with the creatures instead of killing them. Mickey 17's first move is to rush to the broodmother of the creatures, thanking her for saving him and warning her of Marshall's horrifying plan to gas them. But the broodmother isn't afraid of death. These monsters are strong enough to obliterate humans with a single, synchronized scream that creates a terrifying sound wave. As it turns out, the creatures came to the station not only to rescue the second surviving baby but to exact revenge for one of their own who was gunned down. The humans are faced with a choice: return the baby and execute one of their own to show peace, or face a brutal war with the creatures, one where only one side will emerge victorious. In an attempt to broker peace, Mickey 17 sends a signal indicating that the baby must be returned. Ilfa, however, is furious that negotiations with the leader of an alien race are being handled not by her husband, but by some expendable clone. Agreeing with her, Marshall's assistant suggests they go through with the talks, only to ambush and execute the creatures, including the broodmother. Marshall supports the plan, and a group of armed soldiers prepares to head out under the guise of diplomacy. The creatures, realizing the threat, create swirling vortexes to hide the broodmother's true location. Meanwhile, Nasha attacks Ilfa, choking her and demanding to be allowed to leave the ship. Marshall's aides, who are secretly working for a corporation back on Earth, strike a deal, allowing Nasha to escape with a baby creature. She returns the infant to the broodmother, but there's a second part to the deal. Seeing Mickey 17 and Nasha happy together, Mickey 18 realizes he must make the ultimate sacrifice. He infiltrates a transport vehicle, ambushes Marshall, and brutally beats him. Though Mickey 18 is terrified of dying, he knows his actions are for the greater good. He activates a detonator, taking both himself and Marshall down in an explosive final act. 6 months later, spring has arrived. Humans have successfully begun colonizing the planet, learning to live side by side with the creatures. The station crew gathers to honor Nasha, who has become the colony's leader. She announces that most of the old laws are abolished, including the ban on human cloning. She proposes destroying the bioprinter and entrusts the task to Mickey. Mickey reflects on the past 6 months. They've been fraught with challenges. They've had to relearn life from the ground up. Timo almost killed Darius's man, but he survived and was acquitted in court. Nasha is now a confident and capable leader, But Mickey still struggles with nightmares of Marshall's wife, who died the day after her husband. Despite everything they've faced, they've persevered. And now, with the bioprinter on the verge of destruction, a new era for the planet is about to begin. Is destroying alien life justified for humanity's survival? The colony leader is willing to wipe out intelligent beings to ensure safety, but does humanity have the right to decide the fate of other sentient species? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.